welcome. I think that's got to be one of, if not the most satisfying sound a human could ever hear. Well, unless you hate the sound of pouring water, which, I've never heard of that before. You are currently in the loop with Max Wingrove. Welcome to the first episode of the In the Loop podcast, and today I will be talking about 2019's overlooked and underappreciated pieces of cinema. 2019 has been, I wouldn't say a bad year for movies, it's just been average compared to the amazing years like 2014, 2016, or hell, 2012, how can I forget about 2012? And 2008. And I don't think I ever expected it to be anything more than it is now. And that's maybe just because me and my friends are just getting more seasoned and more critical every single year with films. But I've only given like 2 of my top grades. And it's a little disappointing because I think 2016 I gave 6 A pluses. And, I think 2012 was somewhere around that. 2016 also had the most F-graded movies, so, there is that. But, so, over the course of the year, it is now, I think, October 25th. I don't know when this is going to be coming out, but right now I think it's the 25th. And I've seen 72 movies, which is not as much as most years, but it's still a lot compared to, just the average moviegoer. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I've had, especially during the summer, I had a lot of time on my hands. My eyes were just burning after a while, because I think I watched 3 movies in one day. I remember I watched 2 Netflix movies, and then Aladdin, 2019 Aladdin remake, all in one day. So, most people are not going to watch movies like that, and that's just because I'm a bit of a freak when it comes to that. It's just become a habit. Back in 2014, I just started binging the hell out of movies. It's kind of like a TV show. I've stayed home and just watched The Walking Dead, and that's all I did. Like, for the entire day, I watched The Walking Dead, and I probably finished, 2 seasons or a season and a half or whatever. I think, season 3, I remember I just blazed through. And that's when I used to watch a lot of TV. So I guess movies are the same, but, it's also not maybe the greatest idea to watch movies like that sometimes, just because you won't remember, specific stuff. So, you may watch film however you want. That was just when I had a lot of time on my hands. So, some overlooked pieces of cinema that I've encountered and seen this year. That they're not all good and bad. Some stuff is just whatever. I just think it's not many people knew about it. And then there's a lot of underappreciated stuff as well. So, I think the first movie I saw this year was Velvet Buzzsaw, which I think everybody kind of knew about that one. It's a little disappointing. In fact, very disappointing. Not a character I actually empathized with in that film. Then we got the Lego Movie 2, How to Train Your Dragon, Captain Marvel. I'm just listing some of the stuff I've seen. This is not necessarily overlooked stuff. But overlooked, I think the first one should be Unicorn Store, which I said it's not. I'm not gonna label this movie the worst thing I've seen this year. Oh, but damn, is it close? This is just Brie Larson. I don't know, trying to be herself. I hope this is not how she usually acts. Search up the vacuum cleaner sales pitch scene from this movie, and you won't need to watch any of the other scenes. You won't need to watch this movie. You'll just be like, I'm done. It's almost like it's kind of like a 5-year-old wrote this movie. You hear that about a lot of movies, but dude, this is the most childish one of the most boring pieces of crap I've seen this year. It's just it's also it's almost like the movie's full of itself. I have a lot of respect for Samuel L. Jackson. He's just one of my favorite actors of all time, and I think a lot of people share that opinion. But he takes a lot of stuff, like just anything really. He's in my least favorite movie of all time, Cell, that thing that came out in 2016. And then he's in this. Why, dude? Maybe it's just because him and Brie Larson had some close ties because of Captain Marvel, and she was like, "Oh, just cast my friend, maybe." Well, if she had a hand in casting, which I'm sure she did, because this is like her thing. This is her creation. I don't think anybody else would have been crazy enough to even greenlight this, but somehow it got greenlit, and it happened. So yeah, no, Unicorn Store, not a very pleasant time. It took me 3 days to get through this thing, man. I took a lot of notes, so I still paid attention, but I couldn't get through. I couldn't get through it in one sitting. It was plus I had stuff to do, and I was like, I'd rather do chores. Like my mom would tell me to do something. Like, yes, give me the dishes, give me the lawnmower. Who cares? Okay, so the next overlooked movie, and probably underappreciated, was Hotel Mumbai. Oh man, this was my favorite of the year for a while. I found it so immersive, but yet it scarred me. Yep, I thought I could handle stuff like I've seen. I remember back when I watched Patriots Day, I was like, this is the peak. Like I can actually handle real violence, like no, like real movie violence. Like terrorist kind of stuff, which is what this is. And it's what Patriots Day was, but. There's only 4 of us in the theater, and I was so uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable in the attack scenes when, people are getting just gunned down in this hotel. I couldn't stand it sometimes. It's not that it was just too real, it's just that, the people that were doing it were just doing it with such, we're just doing it with no remorse, and just seeing all these families get killed and like they're nothing. I know I'm trying to sound like I'm a super good person right now, but, I'm serious. It was nothing that I thought I could handle it when I came into it. I wasn't even scared, coming into it. But I was while watching it, so there is that. And I didn't know Armie Hammer was in this movie. When I saw him, I was like, yo, my boy's in this movie. And his character was a little cringy at times, but... he was definitely one of him and his wife were the soul of the movie, pretty much. And Dev Patel, right? So, Hotel Mumbai, definitely don't skip out on this one. I think a lot of people saw it in 2018. It just got released in Canada and US in 2019. So, I think currently it's my 3rd favorite of the year. I think it's my 3rd favorite of the year. Only being beat by probably Joker and Endgame or something like that. So what's next up on the roster? We got Fighting With My Family. And if you look at the posters for this movie, of course you're going to see The Rock, right? So I wouldn't go off that and be like, oh my gosh, I want to go see a movie with The Rock. No. The Rock makes cameos basically in this movie, and I liked what they did. If he had been in this movie too much, it would have just taken a whole different way. And plus it's a true story, so you can't just have The Rock in there all the time. Sorry, I'm calling him The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, whatever. I'm gonna call him The Rock. It's such a creature of habit, and I think a lot of people still call him The Rock. Fighting With My Family was it was so emotionally satisfying. Like, these characters were written so well, and the dialogue, oh my god, the dialogue, when I first heard the Nick Frost's dialogue with his family, I was like, I know this movie is handled with somebody with skill. This isn't just your typical wrestling movie. And I would certainly watch this over anything to do with the WWE. Just because, even though if you like watching the WWE, I'm not saying anything, but you gotta know it's fake and everything. But this, even though you know it's fake and everybody in the movie knows everything is fake, it gives you a new respect for what they're trying to do on TV. So it looks a lot less goofy from behind the scenes when there's actually characters that you really like, and damn, was I connected to them. So yeah, it definitely succeeded from a character standpoint. All right, another overlooked movie I think was The Wolf's Call. The Wolf's Call. It's a French movie on Netflix. So yeah, I don't think I've ever met anyone who's seen this movie this year, or just period. I told some people to watch it, but they're not gonna watch it. The Wolf's Call. It's about I should have researched what the position this guy was in. I should have researched what it's called. It's like, people are in submarines, and sonar reader, sonar listeners, sonar detector, something like that. Somebody who sits there with the headphones and listens to the different sound waves, and it reminded me of when I was watching Whiplash, and I was like, this drumming looks impossible. This guy's job, I don't think I could ever become this trained and this skilled to be able to detect like that different kind of sound waves and like pick apart, the sound waves in general and be like, oh, that's a submarine. Oh, that's just a fish. So yeah, The Wolf's Call. It didn't blow me away, but it's definitely worth your time. Like, don't go and watch Unicorn Store on Netflix instead of this. Like, this is well worth your time compared to that. I'm just thinking of that now. People are probably gonna watch Unicorn Store instead of this. Such a shame. All right. Speaking of Netflix, next up we got I Am Mother. Another great protagonist this year, man. I really cared for, the main girl. I can't remember her name or the actress for the life of me, but this movie was tense. It was super dramatic. It was heavy. Every single scene I was like, something doesn't feel right. Even though, it's a girl and a robot and they've known each other for just like their entire lives basically, and there shouldn't be any tension. Even when the scene doesn't set up tension, I'm like, I feel uneasy right now, guys. And, once another character gets brought into the mix, the movie explodes, and I really enjoyed it. There wasn't many problems I had with it. I just didn't think it could have gone it didn't reach the level it could have. But the characters they were on the spot, and they were what you need them to be. And they're very human, even though it's about a robot, I think it was definitely one of the most humanized films I've seen this year, period. Okay, next up we got Dragged Across Concrete with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, and the director, what is his name? I'm gonna cringe hearing me say this later on, but okay, let's see. Dragged Across Concrete. Oh yeah, Craig Zoller. Right. He directed Brawl in Cell Block 99 and Bone Tomahawk. I only saw Brawl in Cell Block 99, and that was just a grisly movie. This is not as bloody and not as violent, but I think this is tied with Brawl in Cell Block 99. This is it's just tough as nails. Dragged Across Concrete, I think, is a perfect name because of how gritty it is. And it's not like it's over the top either. It's also a subtle movie. Violence just comes out at the most, unexpected times. And even when you expect violence, you don't expect it to be as graphic as it is. So I think that's kind of genius, having most of the movie be quiet and, like I said, subtle, and then when violence comes out, it's done well and it's done harshly. So dragged across concrete. The characters. It's not like a character study or anything. There is a 20-minute clip of Vince Vaughn eating a sandwich like that. That's legendary. Zoller, come on. You got a bit of an ego to just have him eat a sandwich for about 10 minutes in the movie. Or, he just wants to go for maximum realism, and you're just like, I'm not going to cut that out. I almost feel like that was just Vaughn on lunch break, and they're just like, get in the car, get on set. We just need you to sit there. And he's like, can I finish my sandwich? And they're like, yeah, whatever. And he's just sitting there, and Mel Gibson's just looking at him in disgust. I feel like that was, of course it's intentional, but I don't know if it added anything. Why am I deconstructing a scene where Vince Vaughn eats a sandwich? Whatever, it's thought-provoking, because I've never ever seen anything in a movie like that except the pie-eating scene from A Ghost Story. And I think this is better. Pie-eating scene versus sandwich-eating scene. Which one's better? You tell me in the freaking comments. Okay, so overlooked. Oh, sadly, this was overlooked. Not really sadly, but it makes me kind of sad that Dark Phoenix. No one talked about it really, and when they did talk about it, they talked about it with disgust and shame. Which I don't think it's a horrible movie, but I can definitely see why people think it's just awful, because it's bland. It is like white rice. It's like it has no flavor to it. Days of Future Past, Logan, X2, even sorry, I'm about to say this, but even Origins Wolverine had a certain flavor to it, and this is just nothing, man. And it was sloppily done. It was too short, I think, and it just didn't hit all the mark as it could have. To properly wrap up the story of the X-Men. It was very, oh my god, and then the X-Women thing. I'm not going to try to become an SJW person here or anything like that, or the anti-SJW, but damn, that was bad. That was real bad. Okay, we got Dave Chappelle, Sticks and Stones. That was not overlooked, but that was underappreciated by the critics. And that's a can of worms I'm not going to get into, because there was a lot of controversy, and I enjoyed all the controversy. It was hilarious. It was a hilarious stand-up, especially the part about the MAGA country thing. That was too good. Alright, okay. Alien Warfare. I think this is the most hilarious movie I've seen all year, and it just looked like four guys, or how many guys was it? 4 guys or whatever. Were like, dude, we should totally make a movie about aliens. We got a considerable budget. Let's just go for it. Let's just write the script as we go, and let's research on how to talk like we are military personnel, like we are army men. Let's do it. This will be fun. And you know what? It looks like the dudes are having fun, but this movie is freaking hilarious. This is just so good, it's bad times 1,000. Like, if Mystery Science Theater roasted this movie, it would be... They wouldn't even be coming up with clever roasts. They would just be pointing at everything and saying something stupid. Which is... If I was watching this movie with a friend, holy crap, it would take us 2 hours. We would pause it a million times and make stupid jokes, because it would have been more fun. I was watching this at work, I was just sort of laughing at myself, so... Anyway, Alien Warfare, don't watch it. But if you're drunk and you're with some friends, then watch it. Then I promise you'll have a blast. Joker. I'll probably make an entire video just about the controversy with Joker. And I think you know what side I'm on. I don't agree with any of the paranoia that's been said about the movie, so that's a whole other thing. That it'll take way too long to go through that. So I'll just move on to In the Tall Grass, a Stephen King adaptation Stephen King wrote this with another author, and I can't remember what his name is. I'm sorry, but this movie's okay. It's pretty boring in some portions of the movie. It's like people just roaming around the grass and a bunch of stock footage of nature. So it wasn't too interesting in that respect. I'll just say, as soon as incest gets brought into the movie, I lost all respect for it. It's just, I got immediately frustrated by that. I'm like, why? Why did you have to say that? It made it so much worse than it already was. But it has a pretty respectable cast. It also has a dude that I thought he looked like Sebastian Stan a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Oh, speaking of Sebastian Stan, we have always lived in the castle. We have always lived in the castle. Like, oh my God. This movie was uncomfortable. This was an uncomfortable, artsy movie that I loved watching. I still haven't given a grade to this movie because I don't know what to think of it. I don't know what the movie was trying to do. It was consistently entertaining, but it was awkward and just it made me squirm in my seat when I was watching it. It was so uncomfortable. It almost seems like somebody wrote this from an experience they had with a really dysfunctional family and then just like was on acid the entire time. Sebastian Stan, like he's awesome in this movie. He's not like, it's not a great performance. It's not as great as a performance as Bucky or his performance in I, Tonya, but I don't know what to think about this movie. I don't know who to recommend it to or even to recommend it at all. I recommend you watch it. Just if you want to watch the most whack movie of all time, this is your ticket, because holy crap, I was so confused and so bewildered by all the choices. But I still think it was very, very entertaining and very well shot, very well. The dialogue was good for what it needed to be. Like when you get into when you see what the tone of the movie is and you see where the characters are coming from, then the dialogue is good. It fits. But in mainstream sense, this dialogue is whack. This dialogue is crazy. Okay, so American Factory, one of the few documentaries I saw this year. It's my favorite of this year. Amazing original soundtrack, and I think it also was the most. It was the most tense, I would say, documentary, because it's about the Chinese and Americans trying to co-own a company, and they fight unions and stuff, and it got intense. I never thought I would say that about such a quiet documentary. That it started out quiet is what I meant to say, and then it kind of exploded near the end. And it was good. It was very well documented and very well put together. That being said, some stuff did drag a lot, especially near the end. I was like, yeah, this can end now. But if you're looking at, this is surprisingly interesting. This is a documentary about a glass factory, and for it to engage me as much as it did, good job. It worked. And finally, I'll be talking about the Between Two Ferns movie. So, if anyone watched Between Two Ferns on YouTube, you gotta watch this movie. Well, and if you enjoyed it, this is the movie for you. I don't watch a lot of Between Two Ferns. I've seen only a few of them. The one that sticks in my head is Charlize Theron. I've watched that one quite a few times, and this is probably the funniest movie I've seen all year. Really, it is. I know I said something about alien warfare in that respect, but that was just because it was so terrible. This is actually this is actually very well done. I found this to be even, it had a lot of heart too. I found it to be kind of gripping in terms of the characters, especially near the end. So, it's not a perfect movie or anything, but it is funny as hell. When you see John Legend in the movie, oh, I was holding my sides. It was so great. It was so great in terms of humor. So, anyway, I'll say that about wraps it up. You've been in the loop with Max Wingrove, and I'll be doing hopefully a lot more of these podcasts with friends. So I'm going to be pretty much asking everybody who dares to be on YouTube. And we're going to be talking about a lot of interesting stuff. I'm not going to bring a lot of politics and like cancel culture and just stuff that people get offended about. I won't be talking about that kind of stuff necessarily. I'll be talking about just stuff that me and my friends usually have long discussions about, and even people in the comments, even like, you guys in the comments, just type what you want me to talk about if there's anything that you think would be worth hearing me talk about. So, yeah. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. There's a lot. There's a lot more movies I can talk about, but I'll probably make another video about that soon. Like, for example, The Haunting of Sharon Tate. Worst movie of the year so far, but it's still overlooked. So, if you've heard of that movie and you know that, you probably know the buzz around it. It's just garbage. Yeah. Anyway, so thank you for listening, and I will see you guys next time in the loop.